Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the latest of your view with me. I will start with Obiajulu Ugbo. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Just
Aren't
going
we
to
all?
Yes, just going to rest this weekend and plan my week next week. I'm also considering maybe I'll have to go for the conference in Abuja. I'm still considering. Yes, I would really love to attend that conference. You know, meet like minds, learn from people who have gone ahead of you. You know, pick one or two things. Those things always help.
Right.
But it has to pass through approval first.
Ganga.
If they'll be willing to release me to go to Abuja for the training. But let's see how it goes.
Talking about conferences, there's a conference tomorrow. Sheon invited me. Her church is having a really big at Landmark. It's supposed to be really big.
I saw
the theme is legislation or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really good conference. I'd like to actually attend. I might just go there. Just
in the line of
This weekend, right?
I need a conference to go to as well.
You want a conference to go to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like going to conferences. There's a season where you just feel like you need information and knowledge.
Exactly.
So I think
And networking.
And
networking,
So
actually.
Yeah.
I might just pop in there. How you doing?
I'm good. So I think right from, I have two banters. I'm wondering
Which one to start with?
to start with. See, like from the first few years of marriage, I've always worn the same. I've always been able to wear my husband's trousers. From last quarter of last year, the trousers were not entering anymore. Alas, this morning I wore his trouser.
Yay.
And it fits. I'm like, wow.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, we're back there, you know, but so that I felt good about that. But one of my staff reached out to me that an ex-staff was trying to, the girl is, you know, when you see young people being so criminal-minded, you don't expect it, like you're not from a poor home. Your parents sent you to Redeemers University, they paid a lot of
Have
money.
small money.
And you get into an organization as an intern and you keep finding a way to
Sabotage.
get money. It's greed, lies, as in, it's so shocking. This other girl is younger and she's telling me that our former staff sent me a message that she has one of her customers that has paid and she knows that I will not give her the commission, so she should lie and collect it.
And then
And I'm wondering, that was why I fired her. Because there was consistency of lying,
Scheming.
saying my mommy is sick so that she can borrow money to buy drugs, and everything
They're all
was a lie.
lies. Wow.
Well, it goes also back to the foundation where she's coming from, the kind of
I don't think
thing
we
that
should blame
make up
parents for this.
people.
I'm sure the mom must have been praying and worried about the matter. I don't know.
There's
I'm
so
just
many
wondering-
things. There's also mental health. That can be
The
part of
lies
it.
are just so...
Yeah. She needs help. You know, somebody can help her out to get out of this. How you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. I'm wearing my outfit again. This was from Mariah's mom's collection, and I love to wear this. I wear it like only once.
Easy on you.
Once in a year. It's my special outfit. Anytime I wear it, I just feel like a madam. Thank you again.
You're welcome. So, what's happening?
What's happening?
You've been enjoying posting.
So you went.
I'm telling you,
outfit.
I've been
this morning.
Yes, I was on breakfast show
Yeah.
this morning, the TVC News breakfast this morning, to talk about the show.
How did you feel being interviewed?
Honestly, Mr. Mike asked the same thing. Honestly, I was asking in my mind, I felt, let them finish, hurry up, please finish quickly. I need to get out of here because the questions keep coming. You don't know which angle the question's going to come from. So you're so nervous. You're thinking, please don't ask me something I can't answer. You know, but yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was nice. I enjoyed it.
But Mr. Mike is such a professional.
Yeah, I love him.
makes you
makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes, I did enjoy that. So yeah, still counting down. We'll see how that goes. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, we go through the fun pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we'll start with the nation. Tinubu's parley boosts Abbas's chances. Annie Okonkwo dies at 63. Mba lawyer urges Kanu's release. Monday is June 12th holiday. NNPCL withholding 8.4 trillion from Federation account, says Ramfak. Presidential poll okay where we served, say article's witnesses. Telcos accuse big banks of reluctance to pay USSD charges. Appeal court orders Makinde to pay council chiefs. And the kind of security chiefs president needs for by Olugbon. Okay. Yeah. All right. Which story are we starting with?
They said about 8.4 trillion meant for the federal Federation account is being withheld by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL. This was said by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC. Is it RAMFAC or RAMAC?
That's how we
RAMFAC.
Okay, they just say RAMFAC. So they are alleging this. And they also said that NNPCL refused to remit the sum on the grounds that it was meant for subsidy payments. Now, Chairman of the RAMFAC, Mohammed Shehu, made this known in a statement yesterday, and he explained the sum was computed by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. They went ahead to also applaud President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for removing subsidy, that the Commission had yet to reconcile the 8.4 trillion that I had mentioned earlier. And so they said that, so they tried to contact the NNPCL chairman, spokesperson, who did not pick up his call as at the time. And it says, since January 1, 2022 to date, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has not been contributing to the Federation account due to the claimed subsidy payment. And they broke down the figure for us. So they are saying that the subsidy is, now that the subsidy has been removed, it's better because it's not been transparent. And when it's not transparent like that, Nigerians need to know exactly where the money is going to. So removing it now would make the place known. And I hear that NNPCL is saying that the federal government is owing them about 2.8. Yeah. So now that they are supposed to remit 8 point something, they should do the maths and then send the balance to the federal government.
And that largesse we're waiting for might not even come in next 1 or 2 years because there's so much debt to be paid to NNPC.
No. They are owing the Federation account 8.4. And the Federation account is owing them 2 points. There's a deduction to be done here. We have balance to collect from NNPC.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll have the telcos. So telecom operators have accused banks of owing huge percentage of the 120 billion debt that arose from the use of USSD. I think I took that like a few weeks back. It looks like they're still on the case. They say that, so it's all come together under the aegis of Association of Licensed Telecoms Companies of Nigeria. And the chairman of the association in an interview says that the smaller operators, like the smaller banks, have been responsive and they've been paying their debts. That in fact, they were paying their bills, but after a while they stopped paying. But they realized that when they sent them the notice, they started paying. But the big banks have refused to pay, and that and because they're big banks, the impact of their not paying, the impact of their debt is huge on the industry. The CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, was supposed to have intervened, but they are saying that they haven't seen the impact of his intervention, that until these banks start paying them before they can say, yes, the CBN has intervened. So they're still on it, and we hope this is resolved soon.
All right, so the Olugbon of Orile Igbon in Oyo State is also the deputy chairman of the Oyo Council of Obas and Chiefs. As he has said that he has advised the president that he must hire an expert with vast experience in counterterrorism and a player in the international security space. According to him, he said that terrorism has bedeviled the nation to the extent that it can no longer afford to lose its citizens, including security personnel. He has advised the president to ensure that we have the right people, someone who has security intelligence skill and is a professional, either with the military, DSS, or NIA background. So just adding his own voice to the issue of terrorism.
Let me take the major headline. So the conversation that we've been waiting for over and over again concerning who will become our Senate President in the 10th Assembly and Speaker of the House of Representatives has been seemingly more decided because the President, Tinubu, has decided to have had a parley with the senators and House of Rep members of APC, and he seemed to have supported Akpabio and
was aligned with his
he was aligned with the APC's zoning. No, yes. The APC already, he aligned with what APC had agreed on, which is that they were going to be giving Akpabio, that's representing Akwa Ibom Northwest, and they were going to give Abbas, which is Zaria Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, and that they were going to be giving the Deputy Senate President to be going to Barau Jibrim of Kano North, and the Deputy Senate, the Benjamin Kalu will be for Deputy Speakership, who is from Bende Federal Constituency, Abia State. So the conversation now is that two main contenders that were opposing did not attend the parley.
Right.
And they are saying maybe Abdulaziz Yari and Orji Zokalu are still furthering their own agenda to see how they can still lobby. The 59 senators are for APC, 36 are for PDP, 8 Labour Party. So maybe if he's able to gather all the other opposition and be able to get something through. Yeah.
You've divided the APC
Get some
bloc
swingers.
now.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Let's go on. Let me just give the headline of the Punch, then we'll go on a break. The Punch, National Assembly leadership, Tinubu's meeting with lawmakers failed to resolve zoning crisis. Nigeria Air, Arewa Group demands Sirika's arrest. INEC APC oppose LP's quest to quiz IT experts. Ogun community residents stranded as flood overruns Link Road. Return home for vote buying trial, APC tells Adebutu. FG raised telecoms GDP contribution to 2.5 trillion, says NCC. Subsidy, NNPCL failed to remit 8 trillion naira, says Ramfak. And Rep stepped down 543 billion naira judgment debt payment. Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll review this headline. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Now we're reviewing Punch. Which story starting with?
So they said most residents in Gateway Sparklight Estate area opposite Mountaintop University along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Ogun State, were unable to carry out their various daily activities on Thursday after the flood took over the main road connecting them to the highway. According to the correspondent, that's Punch, they said they could not even pass the road when they wanted to investigate what was happening. Most motorcyclists, car owners, a lot of people were stranded on the other side of the road, said till the early hours of the morning because of the rain that started on Wednesday till Thursday. Everywhere was flooded. Shop owners said the level of the flood got to almost half of their shops. They were not able to open. And some residents in that area kept complaining about it. Some of them had to come out with baskets. They were seeing fish, cutlasses, baskets, and fishing. Yes, to fish, and said they could not even access their businesses or go to work. And they are saying that a bridge should have been built around that area to help them. And I think about 2 years ago, somebody died in that area due to flood. He was a bike man.
Regular thing.
With yes, he had a gas cylinder, and when the flood took him, he just took him and they didn't see him. And they expected that the government would have come in, waded into the matter to build a bridge for them to solve this issue. So a lot of them are stranded now. Nothing
What has been done yet?
Okay,
I have,
Punch?
yes, the Concerned Northern Forum is asking for the arrest and prosecution of the immediate past Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, over the alleged complicity in the Nigeria Air fraud. Remember, I taken the story where the managing director had said that the aircraft that was launched was actually chartered for a few hours and then taken back. So they're saying that, this group is saying that this is an EFCC case. He needs to be arrested and investigated. They call this a national embarrassment. Waste of resources incurred on the country would have been averted also if he had listened to advice. So I think the court had also advised that the federal government should stay on, on that particular project, but he still went ahead insisting. They said even the way he carried out, his tenure as a minister, they said he was a tyrant, refusing to listen to anyone, aviation experts, airline operators of Nigeria. He would not listen to anybody, and he now allegedly, did this. So they believe that EFCC should investigate this.
All right, so President Bola Tinubu has performed his maiden act of assenting to a bill as appended, his signature to the Constitution, altering, making it uniform the age of justices when they can retire. So according to this report, the bill is a fresh amendment of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, amending the retirement age and pension rights of judicial officers have been effectively brought into uniformity and other related matters. This, for me, sounded like a no-brainer, something that should have been done years ago, where all the judges have a uniform time of retirement. I'm not sure why it was
ever different.
It was ever distortion, but I'm happy he's done that. So that was his first maiden act of assent to the bill, and we're happy about that.
So the APC, the Ogun State chapter of APCs has challenged the governorship candidate of PDP, that is Ladi Adebutu, to return to the country and answer his vote buying and money laundering charges that have been filed against him by the federal government. Said that he is claiming he's unaware of that, but his lawyer wrote to the police that prior to the delivery of the letter, the client had already left the country for medicals, and his return is dependent on the doctors. So it's an indefinite, there's no time frame. And the APC is saying that no, that it's not, they see it as an excuse. That is not the reality, and that they feel like he should come and answer the cases that the government has against him. I think that because the elections are over, we sort of feel like we're tired of hearing politically related cases. But if it is true that he has money laundering charges and vote buying cases against him, even if he's not in Nigeria, they should be able to ensure that his lawyers are present in court and justice is served.
Okay, moving on now to Daily Sun. INEC explains non-transmission of election results with beavers. Makinde, Wike, Otomi, Piazu, Ugwuanyi meet Tinubu, seek equity, fairness, and justice. Panic in Anambra Assembly as armed men try to abduct member-elect. 10th National Assembly leadership. Nobody should take Izunaso seriously, says Ahize. El Rufai under fire over viral video. Tears as ex-Senator Annie Okonkwo dies at 63. And Mba in Aso Rock asked Tinubu to release Kanu, and FG declares June 12 public holiday to mark Democracy Day. Okay, let me take the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to begin the healing process that he promised during his inaugural speech by releasing the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader. If you recall, he was arrested back in 2015, and then he was granted bail in the courts in 2017. And if you recall, that there was a sting operation where he fled to Kenya, and then he was brought back home. And then the court had, the Court of Appeal in Abuja ruled that Kanu's extradition to Nigeria was done outside the legal framework, and then they had asked them to release him. Unfortunately, the DSS then took the case back to court, getting the Supreme Court to squash that ruling that he should be released. Either way, the case is still in the Supreme Court right now, and he's yet to be released. And but Governor of Enugu is appealing to the president to release Nnamdi Kanu. That by doing that, what they're doing is actually begin that process of healing to bring back, especially those who have been hurt in the southeastern part of the country, would find this as a way to heal all the grievances they have against the government.
So I have panic in Anambra Assembly as armed men attempt to whisk away a member-elect. I don't know if you got the same feeling. So in my mind, I'm like, armed men went into the house while in session.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
They are DSS. Former armed men are suspected to be operatives of the Directorate of Security Services, DSS. They had to scare Miriam. Anyway, they said they tried to whisk away the member-elect in the Wee North constituency, Mr. Onyeka Chukwuike. They said that they forced him into the vehicle and they were about to drive out of the assembly complex when the security personnel quickly locked the exit gate. The DSS even explained that they had a court order for his arrest, but they got the deputy governor and also the intervention of the speaker who, begged, and he was allowed to stay back. But that was what happened. They were
We just discussed framing now.
Bandits,
everybody frames it based on
terrorists. I was so scared when I was like, how badly have things gone?
Trying to suggest to people's minds that armed men. But DSS had a warrant for their
and then they say suspected DSS. It's okay.
Anyway, let's move on.
Please, let me take the story.
Oh, sorry, move
the President Bola Tinubu yesterday met with PDP's G5.
It's going to take a while.
Met with the G5. We know the governor of Oyo State, who led the group, had the presence of the 4 other governors who had said that they wanted the PDP zoning to the south. The former governor of Rivers State, former governor of Benue, Enugu, and Abia State, Samoloto Mefayengwaye, and former governor Epiazu. And they said they wanted to go and meet with the president, and the conversation was to let the president know that partner with them on the route for fairness, justice, and equity in Nigeria. And some of the reporters had asked, I think the Sun reporter had asked that, how come they are having, Governor Seyi Makinde is having such frequent visits to Aso Rock and having conversations with them? I said, this is nation building. Nation building matter is a very, very difficult task. And we have to keep evaluating where we are and how to get things to be better. So they are going to the president to know where the G5 are and how they can make things.
The point is that they said they should remove politics. Now we are nation
government.
Okay, Vanguard. Let's find a story we've not taken. Vanguard, oil revenue crash pushes federal government's deficit to 513 billion in February. FG puts payments to MDAs on hold. Nasarawa Assembly factional speaker accuses CP of fueling crisis. Presidential poll, Obi produces software engineer as witness. Death toll in attacks on Benue communities hits 40. Let's find a story. 5G, Nigeria must prioritize consumers' privacy, ethics of data usage, says NCC. Presidential poll, Tinubu APC oppose INEX ad hoc staff as witnesses. And 2024, dissolution fear grips Ondo commissioners, EXCO members. I think we
so the NCC, according to them, they said to unlock the full potential of the 5th generation 5G network. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has urged Nigerians to prioritize privacy of the consumer's data and maintain its ethical use always. So they gave the charge yesterday at the 2023 Nigeria Digital Sense Forum on Internet Governance for Development, IG4D, organized by an online publication, IT Realms, with the theme Data Governance, Safety and Security in Nigeria, held in Lagos. So the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Professor Omar Dambata, in his keynote address, said the advent of 5G technology had opened up immense opportunities and challenges, especially regarding data governance, safety, and security. And the amount of speed of data generated using 5G technology is unprecedented. And the basic idea is that they must find a way to preserve consumers' data so that they are not going away from the ethics of the profession and the business, but consumers must come first. So when you are giving out your data, and we've had some of those issues where data is just exchanged and you don't know if anybody is protecting that data, your personal data. So they are saying that they must be in charge of protecting consumers' personal data, and that's the only way we can really enjoy this 5G and its immense benefits.
Nasarawa. I've been following the Nasarawa controversy where they have 2 House of Assembly speakers. Now, one of the factional speakers, House of Assembly Speaker for Nasarawa State, Daniel Ogazi, is saying that the Commissioner of Police is taking sides and is calling on the Inspector General of Police to step in, that the Commissioner of Police did not allow him and his 13-member that voted him into being Speaker to access the House of Assembly, that they were told by his policemen at the gate not to, the gate was blocked, but the same Commissioner of Police allowed the other Speaker with only 10 members to get into the floor of the Assembly and carry out, according to him, illegal proceedings in the House. How can Commissioner of Police, that other closure, be doing that, and he's being partisan and it shouldn't be allowed? So there were protesters, women. I don't know why women are always one protesting. But a lot of women were there to protest that there should be a resolution on the issue. And the governor of the state said that before the inauguration, he had called these 2 people that let's find a way to resolve. But sadly, the crisis couldn't be resolved. They both stood their ground and were going to contest. And he felt whoever had a majority would win, but it seemed that...
I think what the president said recently should continue to echo, where that we're all members of the same house in different rooms. None of these people should be partisan. We're all towards the same objective. All of you in the House of Assembly for Nigerians. So
and
all these parties is beyond.
Obviously,
all of them should be allowed to enter.
Should not be.
It's not his business.
Or he should explain why he allowed.
Please, I wanted to take this story, but we're running out of time. It was a very juicy story, but
give us now quickly.
And the federal government has put a hold on all last-minute payments because there's some ministers had approved like 2 billion naira to be paid to themselves and their cronies before the last Buhari's administration. So the federal government has stopped all payments.
I heard they froze the accounts.
Yeah. Like, hey,
They froze the accounts before
the
leaving.
brazenness.
It was
Anyway,
that did
we
that.
have to go. That's all we can tell. Let's not get to
There's nothing shocking there now.
When we come back, we start with our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is about gospel and ministers in the house of God. And the reason why this was hot was because recently Pastor Poju Oyemade of the Covenant Christian Center had responded.
Covenant Nation.
Covenant Nation have responded to a Reverend Father who was expressing his displeasure at the fact that many gospel ministers are charging outrageous fees to come and minister in their churches. Specifically, he mentioned an artist who I don't necessarily want to put a name out there, but the main point was the fact that many of these ministers are charging, and it's almost like as though that they are coming to is an entertainment transaction, not a spiritual offering to the people of God. But however, Pastor Poju immediately responded and said, "This artist you are talking about was in my own church, and they did not charge me. We gave her what we felt we wanted to give her as a thank you for coming. But now, as usual, we set those aside and then bring out the issue or the fact that many people do sometimes complain and lament that many of our ministers, pastors, or even gospel artists charge too much to minister. Others say it is a job. It is their mode of livelihood. How else would they feed for themselves if they don't charge? What are your thoughts on this dynamic? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. BC, let me start with you because you're also a gospel artist, and I know that you've been in that space.
Been there.
But yeah, back there. And, you know, and you might be able to understand better because there'll be a time where this was probably really huge for you, it was a front burner for you. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this and how do you think it should play out going forward?
So I think, first of all, the pain of a lot of gospel artists is they do not have support. We don't really have, or they don't really have record companies that come and pick them up and help them just like secular artists do. And when you are an independent artist, you are using up all your money. My saving grace was that I had a backbone who would plan his, there's this thing they pay them in the office at the time, quarterly, they call it quarterly. So every quarter, they give them lump sum. He would plan it for me to go record and do my music and my videos and all of that. So he was basically funding me without getting a kobo from it. So I could afford to minister in a church and not request to be paid because I felt it was me giving back. But most of the gospel artists around me, that was they had nothing else to do. They were not working. I was a classroom teacher when I was singing. They were not working. Nothing else was happening. They wake up in the studio. They sleep in the studio. That's all they do. And they bring out these beautiful songs that edify you. You play the songs in the church. So they don't stop you from playing. You know, like there are some places that you can't play the songs. You have to pay rights. They don't stop you. You can play the songs in your church. Use it as your worship. But if you have to bring the artists, you have to consider their transportation. You have to consider their studio fees. You have to consider, and sometimes some of them don't bill pastors who have supported them in their career. So there's a particular church that every artist I knew wanted to belong to because they had a huge platform for supporting their artists. Yeah. So the pastor cannot call any of them that grew up in that place to come and perform and they'll be asking for money. But if you're a new person, you're a pastor, I believe you're working for God, I'm working for God as well. I don't know you, you don't know me. You want me to come and use my gifts for your people. You collect tithe and offering. You should be able to pay me something, at least to encourage me when I go back to the studio, encourage me to pay my bills, encourage me to do things so that I can focus and connect to the heavenlies and receive those songs to bless the people. So I think it's not about complaining. It's about asking yourself as a pastor, where have I stepped in to help the gospel ministers in my church? What platforms have I provided for them? Can I call anybody from there who, because most times we see them changing churches because they want to be where they are seen and respected and valued and honored.
Let me come to you guys. What are your thoughts on this issue?
So for me, I'll start by saying that the way media, this story is from the media, the way the media packaged it. So the story came out from Daily Post Nigeria, and they said Mercy Chinwo now charges 10 million naira to perform in churches from Reverend Father Oluoma, slams gospel singers. That was wrong. That was not what the pastor said, what the Reverend said. Okay. The priest didn't say that. The priest was asking, the Reverend asked that, like, if you want to bring a Mercy Chinwo, how much would you think she would charge? The crowd chanted 10 million.
Okay.
So of course he was saying that musical artists, according to him, shouldn't be gospel artists shouldn't be charging for performance, and then he wanted to give an example, and people felt this is what she's worth or what we believe we should have to give her. And the Post is now a media house is now couching that story in a way that would a clickbait because you want to push. For me, that is wrong, and we must keep saying it. We must be sensitive to other people. Just because we want to trend does not mean we should say something that might be compromising another person's path. That's one. Another part is there are musical artists that sing gospel and inspirational music. And there are musical artists that are worship leaders, that like they have, it is a spiritual journey for them. Just like you have some pastors that don't collect salary from their church. You have some music ministers that say, my relationship with God, the way I was called to perform as a worship leader, God told me not to charge any amount for performances. The only thing he would do is when he produces his album, you pay for my album, that's how I earn. Some pastors will say, I do books. Through the books I earn, I don't take a salary from the church, but I earn through books and honorarium when I get it. I don't demand for what my honorarium should be. I just believe whatever the church feels is worth honoring me with. So also is with the musical artists. Some gospel artists, for them, this is not just worship thing. This is, I am a Christian, I love to sing, I cannot sing secular songs because of my faith. I'm singing Christian inspirational songs. And this business must pay me, number one. Number two, many artists have bands. The bands, if you don't pay your bands regularly, they won't be committed to you. They will find other things, and that would mean that your music capacity, the quality of music you bring out will be fluctuating. So you put your band on retainership. They call you to minister in churches. You are carrying your band to minister.
Full crew.
Okay, let me come.
The least you would expect. Sorry, please. It's a very, very personal thing for me. Because as a speaker for several years, I was feeling like God has gifted me with the capacity to speak. I should not be charging money to speak. Then I've gone to speak in churches. They gave me dry fish. No, this one I can never forget. Dry in a basket, dry fish. I've gotten fruit baskets. And I'm like, it took me money. And then I didn't have a car. I'll take cab to come to your church and go back. I know that you do make up. Do at least.
Okay, let me go on a break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing, should gospel artists actually charge for ministrations in churches? Let me come to your thoughts on this.
Okay, so my immediate thoughts based on what you introduced would be, if something is someone's bread and butter, that's how they make their living, then they should be paid for what they do. It costs money to put music together, to go for the studio sessions, to perform the music with all the instruments and personnel that need to do it. So it's like a concert. And sometimes it seems that the church does not appreciate what people are doing for the church. You know, and that's why you would see some people would quickly run to the secular Because the secular understands that, okay, this is work that has been put in and the person has to be paid for their work. It's not that people don't want to even give to the Lord. It's that some of us have taken, in the house of God, have taken advantage of that. Knowing that, oh, okay, people are supposed to worship God. And you can give something to even show appreciation for the work that they have put in, not even for coming to minister, but for the work that they must have put in to put everything together. We know this must have cost you money. Here it is. You see someone who has ministered and is, when you're driving away, the person is looking for a bike to get on. The person is raining, the person cannot, is it not sad? Wouldn't you want the person that stands before you and entertain, because for me, it's another way of entertaining and entertains you. When the person is leaving, should live with some dignity. You show appreciation, but that is on one side. Then the second side would be the story itself. It seemed to have taken a whole different form than what was actually trying to be passed across. It seems that the priest was saying that when it comes to praise and worship, the churches themselves, with their choir, they can do it without having to call artists to come. Because when those artists come, they come as entertainers. The praise and worship choir in church and those who are doing it with the church to praise God. So when you do ask someone to come, you have to pay that person. But for those who, we all go to church, we are not going to church to be paid. We're all giving, serving God, doing something for God. Nobody is expected to be paid in that, arena. We're all workers. But when you now insist that, oh, we have an event and we're looking for this sort of person to sing for us, this gospel artist to sing, then you have to start thinking of paying the person. But does it make, I think the priest was saying, but does it make it any more spiritual when you have to pay artists to come, when your own choir can lead you to God?
That's the real story. That, listen, we can worship ourselves. We don't have to bring an artist. But let me take this call. Festus from K2, thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We can't just lump everybody together.
Okay.
Because they are not on the same.
Okay.
You have some artists with bands. Some will come with their full band. Yeah. So once they are coming out, if you don't maintain that band, you can't, allow them to perform to their optimal level. So they need maintenance. So the church invited them for pay. Yes. But if you are inviting just somebody to come and sing using your own choir, it will just appear like a lead vocal in that place. The backup singers and the people on the drum set, everybody belongs to our church. So that's another category.
All right.
Give maybe a token amount like that, not like that. Pastors, you are not supposed to charge a church for preaching. Yes. And it depends on the church. If you don't patronize them, they will not force themselves on you. When somebody is charging 10 million or whatever. So, it's their cup of tea. Ladies, I have something for you. Hello?
Yes. We can hear you, sir.
You have been talking about women in marriage. There's something you are omitting. And that thing is open window for women, making them to be vulnerable in the relationship. That thing is, when you go into marriage, the husband will have an account. You won't know who is the next of kin to that account. All the materials in the house, you will go and buy this, buy that. You will not put your name as the owner of that property. It's supposed to be Mr. and Mrs. That is the chair, the land, whatever. When the man dies, any death can come at any time. Okay, exactly. You see the brothers, everything, they will drive out the woman and the children.
Yeah.
There should be a legislation. There should be, if you are married, the next of kin that bank, because it is with you and that woman, that is why you are making that.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Festus. That we'll definitely consider. We've talked about it in the past before many times, but definitely we'll revisit it. You're right. Many women, there are various factors that lead to it, but we'll definitely take another day. Let me go to the issue of a structure. Because sometimes the way we do things in this part of the world, it's just haphazard. It just, even the entertainment industry itself, it took many years before we could put a proper structure, because there were pirated movies here, pirated these. People were not being paid royalties for the work they did. So it took a long time for even Nollywood to get its act together. But the gospel industry in itself also is almost structureless. So you have to just find a way. It was one of this pastors that somewhat kind of built an industry where people within his church were given a platform to express, and now it became big names. Because I mean, we are growing up with all this, today, oh, I live. So I never knew, when my husband was talking about the fact that he was under a tree with Wale Adenuga, because they were in the university together. They were living in Bafemi Awolowo University together. He said he was there when the guy was composing it. Like, this is the song that he grew up as a child singing. Now became world over. But nobody pays royalties to Mr. Wale Adenuga. Till tomorrow, I'll acknowledge, because we just know the song. So there is that structure of, okay, I am an artist. I am a guest artist. It's my job. How do I get paid? When I perform, when I go, when I have an album, how is it? That's the issue we're having in the industry.
Okay, so the thing is, I want to do a little bit of separation between the secular and the gospel. So for secular, you're getting in there, you know, it's strictly business. You know, your gifts will make a way for you. You will stand before kings. Your gift makes that way for you, but you know that you're definitely going to be reaping from the gifts. So the structure is easy to just put in place. This is business. I don't need to know you. You can call me to come and perform for your naming ceremony. I do my thing, and I get out, and I get paid. But when it comes to gospel music, because there's an element of spirituality to it, one, most of the pastors take it for granted because they have people who are singing in the church. So they feel the music ministry is very heavy because it takes someone who has the proper gifts to stand, and miracles are happening when you're singing. So it's not just singing because I have a fine voice and scaling up and down. Is you are ministering life to people. You are ministering health to people. You are ministering a lot. It's coming from your soul and your spirit. And if you're really good and grounded, miracles actually happen when people minister. So because there's that element of spirituality to it, I wouldn't say for every song that you get divinely, you would have to write to have royalties. I wouldn't say that, right? Because the gift is coming through you for the world. I understand that. But if you now need the person, the originator of the gift, to be present in your church, now there's something we need to understand. Every Christian is supposed to have a home church, right? Where you grow, you nurture. Most of us grew up in the church. We preach, we sing, we do everything in the church. Your home church cannot call you to come and minister, no matter how big you are, and you're billing them. No, that's that's where you serve. But I'm not meant to serve in every other church. So if any other church wants to call me, they will call me as the professional to lead them into that worship.
Let me pause you for a second.
Respect me.
I'll come back to this point. Let me take Sunday. It's been holding for a while. Good morning, Sunday, from Lauren. You're live.
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Please, I want to appreciate you. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
And keep it up. I would like to contribute to this topic. You see, the first time I had to see an honorarium being paid to a minister, a guest minister, I was shocked. My face was disturbed. I was like, how come? Why are they paying them? Are they not doing the same job we are doing? But as I go in faith, I get to learn that these people also have needs. And they are committed to, for instance, all these guest artists that sing worship, if you compare them to secular musicians, you see that the differences are quite high. They need more maintenance. Nobody will invite them to a show. A Davido will not invite them to a show. Other musicians, other secular, even if they invite them, they won't pay them equally like other secular artists. So we are pushing the gospel. I think people just put too much pressure on this Christianity faith. And the way they are doing it, they keep making people to lose faith. They keep presenting the Christendom as if it's just a money-making machine. It's not. It's not. You cannot be using their own basis to judge the kingdom. It's wrong. So
thank you, Sunday. I have to go and praise. I'll come back to you and they'll continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
tuned. Your view will be right back.
Ministers, or should be charging. Even music artists should be charging for coming to minister in churches. Let me come to you.
Yes. So, while I support, there are two sides to every story, and we must always listen to see it from both perspectives. On one side is the artist that is living off the. This is what I'm doing for a living. But this is a spiritual thing, and if you look at the Bible, when Jesus sent the disciples to go, he said that anywhere they go, like you're going out, I'm with you, like I will search you. I will search you, meaning that you don't have to be making requests because he will search you. He's your provider. He's Jireh. If he has called me to perform, that I should sing and lead people to Christ, I will not put a fee to stop people from receiving grace simply because I'm thinking of how I'm going to eat.
Wow.
The Bible quotes it over and over again. Look at the birds in the
Let me
sky.
pause you for a second. I want to stay on that. But the reason why I want to stay on that, I want you to also elaborate for me. Because many people have gone through that path, that Jehovah Jireh sent me out and don't charge because of that. And they've gone out and they realize that they can't feed themselves.
Yes, sir.
Because many people do not reciprocate what they expect that God will do.
You see, that's why I said that it's on the spiritual perspective,
Yes.
honestly. You are not looking to man to be the one to reciprocate. You are looking to God to be the one to sustain you.
How?
He will send the help from different, unexpected angles, as long as you are maintaining your eye on the assignment he has given you.
You believe it
That
from hand to
is
mouth.
not true. So I have heard, let me, and there are a few ministers that have said that everybody knows Nathan Obasi, and he will say it over and over again. He does not ask for a dime for ministering in any church. That if he's traveling, pay for my trip to get to where I'm going to. There's no expectation of how much you should pay me. And he said that's a personal conviction between himself and God. Some pastors would say it too. Pastors actually charge honorarium for coming to minister in churches. Pastors that have their own church. If you carry me to your church, you will pay.
You can't bring a creflo dollar from US and not charge, not pay. You got to pay him.
Pastors will say that no, I would only come to your church if I have if the Holy Spirit already released me to come. It's not based on your money that will make me successful, and God sorts me out.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is you.
Yes.
This is me saying on a spiritual level, the way it ought to be.
Which is great, ought
God
to
is
be.
your sustainer.
Yes. Now, in that way, I'll come to you, Mariam. In that ought to be way, you as a person, sometimes when I see another person who is a bit more assertive
Or businessman.
business-minded, and you see the results, that God is now using that person, and the person is going global because they are billing. So you now think to yourself, wait, God, I am here, believing that you provide for me. And you're going to compare.
Imagine also if you're looking at that person and the person says, I bill, and out of my bill, I'm able to pay my tithe. But I don't bill. I've not even been able to earn enough to even pay tithe.
Can't pay tithe.
I will be so upset. Like, yes. Or sometimes when they give me my money, I will take out of it and put it back. I just feel that the reason we have to talk about this and why gospel artists will need to charge is because people have taken it for granted, taking them for granted. And we know how human beings are. Whether in church or outside church, we take advantage of people who would not assert, or ask for something, definitely. Then we have to look at people who, even though they're willing to be... I think I lost my train of thought.
Sorry about that.
When you do your hands like this, it's just...
I do apologize. I think I have a caller. Good morning, are you there? Oluwaseun, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies. Great job, great topic. Yes, I think we should go into the Bible because we're discussing gospel artists. and I think the free thing comes from, okay, freely you are giving, you are giving, so you too, you freely give. Freely you receive, you freely give. And then, now let's go into the Old Testament where you have the Levites. The Levites are meant to just do God's work without anything. But if you read the story, God made provision. He made provision for them. Where they can feed on, where they can live on. The truth of the matter is that we have to pay our artists. We must pay them. Because the Chinwo standard, for her to bring his musicians, for her to bring his instruments, and all of that, for that good music, we need to pay. It's very expensive. For her to move all of our crew, it will be going to like 5 million plus. So we should consider them. We have to consider them and then pay what they want. Now, as a church, if you cannot afford that, we have an upcoming gospel artist around that we can still give that 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. We all grew up in the church. I do sing, but I don't collect money because I have my other job. So it's personal. That you are not going to collect money is personal. It's personal to you. So if you want that level of spiritual environment, you have to, look at, okay, I want to bring Mercy Chinwo. You have to pay for it. You have to pay for our logistics so that she will always be there for you. Thank you.
All right.
So, sorry, I lost my, yes, let me finish it. And he took me right back to where I was going. And I was going to say that, we may argue that this gift is a gift from God. And when they come to church, these artists, they're supposed to, lead you in worship. And then you are, caught up in the spirit. That is not what you're paying for. You're paying for, as our last caller said, you're paying for all the extra things that come with that artist. You're paying for the music, you're paying for the instruments, you're paying for all the logistics, right? But that time where they take you to God, that's not what you're paying for. And so we should not take advantage and say, after all, it's a gift from God and that's not why. Or else, anyone in church can take you there. As long as God has placed that anointing on the person. But you wanted to bring that particular person for the physical benefits of it. Look at how it will make our church look. Look at who is on the lineup on our flyer. That is what you're paying for. The sort of people you attract to your church. That is what you're paying for. Hopefully, the church will be filled. More people will make more offerings. That's what you're paying for. So let us be honest.
I like that.
Let's be honest about it.
Thank God you didn't lose that point. I like that part.
Just wait.
Let me take this call. Let me take that. Come to you. Sheyi, thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Star power. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this topic you are bringing out today. It's a very interesting one. And I love what Prophet just raised this morning. There are people and there are people when it comes to gospel music. What is it that you are to God? Is it that God calls you or you call yourself into music? Mostly when it comes to gospel music. We are not in the church as a bilende, as so-called in Yoruba. Some people are there in the church because I have the talent, I have the skills, let me show myself, and I charge them, they pay me. But if you really know and you believe within yourself that God calls you, Monayo, Prophet said it earlier, God will provide for your need. He mentioned Nathaniel Bassey. He had an estate, Go and check some other gospel music that's really God called. When they sing, heaven comes down. I have a brother, he worships. He will tell you, Egbomi, I won't charge any dime. That is my covenant with God. What is it that you are holding on to? Is it God or man's supply? God bless you and
Thank
good
you so
morning.
much.
Yeah.
All right.
So I want to pick up from where the caller Sheung, yes, not this last one, the Sheung, and he was, reminding us of the Levites. The Levites were meant to be in the temple. They weren't supposed to be married. They weren't supposed to go out. That was where they were, to just serve. They were meant to be fed from the tithes and the offering collected by the priests. That's their job. There are people in churches who are very good ministers. They don't perform outside. God has told them that you are going to accompany this pastor. This is your job as a minister. You are helping the pastor. You will live, die. This is your roots. They don't go out. They are rooted. At some point, we're even suspecting that Senach was one of those for that church before we now heard that she started going out. Rooted there. So the church takes care of them. The needs that you're saying that God will take care of, he will use human beings.
Yes.
He will not fall from heaven to do that. He will use human beings. When Jesus said, go out without anything. When they receive you or don't receive you, hit your slippers and everything. That was in the time past. They were not taking transportation to go to the places they were going to. They were basically walking from house to preach. That was all they did, and they relied on that. Now, as a gospel minister that God has called, God did not call the studio manager. God did not call the producer. God did not call the band people.
Backup singers.
God did not call them. Sometimes, in fact, their lifestyle is opposite of your own. But they are professionals in what they do, and you need them to take your people there. God did not call them. So I cannot come and, I cannot come and be explaining to you that God called me and said he will supply all of my needs. How do I supply your needs? How do you get transportation to my place? So there are a lot of things that go into and that's why it seems like for some gospel artists, they're not able to break it. They are very good, but they're not able to hit that excellence because they're not putting in what they need to based on lack of resources. But you want the best. You want that person, like, God bless his soul, late Samuel Osu, who has put in the work. He has spent money in the studio. He's constantly recording. He's constantly practicing with his band. You want him. You leave the Mr. Sam in your church, who has a natural talent, hasn't gotten there. But he doesn't have that package.
And the Holy Spirit uses him.
He uses him too. But you leave him, you want that one that has spent physical resources.
So what I'm hearing is that what we are paying for is the star power. Yes. The fact that somebody who has branded themselves is not just the man in the church who is also anointed, but the man who has totally packaged themselves. I am paying because that star power brings in more people.
Yes.
And he gets more tithes and offerings. Okay, so I get that point. I'll come to you, Tokwe. Let me take this call and I'll come to you. Lisa, I think. Thanks for calling, Lisa.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
I'm first caller.
Woo, first time caller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Every spiritual question needs spiritual answer.
Okay.
Or you have to back your answer with Bible reference.
Okay.
This is a spiritual question. To me, there's nothing bad in charging. The Bible says, whatever we lay our hands upon, it will prosper. Let's now look at David. Before David faced Goliath, he asked King Saul, what would be the reward, underline it, for everyone that killed this bloody Philistine? Then King Saul said that this person, that anybody that killed this man, I will give him my daughter as wife, then my kingdom will be divided into two. It's monetary aspect. There's nothing bad in it. That's the only thing I want to contribute.
Fantastic.
Take away the spirituality.
So when I started, I said there were two sides to this. One is those that this is a spiritual journey for them. And for some other people, it's like, I am spiritual, I like to perform, I'm a good artist, but there's Naira and Kobo, like common sense perspective. Same way with pastors. Some pastors have that, this is all spiritual for me. And some pastors will be like, there are principles. We follow the principles that God has given us the wisdom to follow. But that's the fact that we're now analyzing church and creating how, by bringing some particular artist, gives you star power, brings in congregation, brings in offering. We have turned what is a spiritual journey into Naira and Kobo and business calculation that we're following strategies to see how we can...
Return on investment.
Yes, return on investment. I just feel like this isn't what is meant to be. This is not the ideal. But in some cases, many times, this is the reality for some people.
But do you notice that we don't really have this conversation when we're bringing in Domoen, bringing in Creflo Dollar, bringing all this, because they charge in dollars. And many of our churches pay in dollars.
But there are still some international gospel artists that will say totally that they don't charge for ministration. Of course, you pay their ticket. No, there are gospel artists international that say they don't charge. Now, when we go back to that, who is going to sort me? Is that we have decided to use rational minds to sort out to
spiritual matter,
how this is going to happen. If God has given you a clear instruction that go, it's not a case of how am I going to get there. If you know in your spirit, you're convinced that God has asked me, this is the line of action for me, then you will go. I worship in a church where pastors are not, pastor will say over and over again, no pastor, and that was probably in the beginning, some pastors, because there's hunger in town, they would seek some help from members. And like, we're not in a church where pastors are beggars. You will not ask ask God, is your source. He will direct people to you. And there are stories of testimony where a man said, like, I wrote this thing down. I need to pay my children's school fees. He wrote the amount down. And the second day, someone came and met him and said, that if the specific amount, it wasn't even a round figure.
Yes.
This specific amount came to my feet that I should give to you. And sort of, I have that same thing happened to me a few months ago. Like, I listed the name of people and I put an amount to them. And it wasn't like it was anything. I just thought to my spirit that this specific amount of money was going to go to these specific people. So we must trust the spiritual journeys. And if you know that you cannot trust it, because we are all on a journey of faith, some people are not there, but they are still ministers and God is still using them, then they will follow the principles of, I have a seed. I sow my seed, which is music. I should reap my harvest, which is money from my seed.
Let me take this call, then I'll come to you, Mara. Delightsome, good morning. I'm sorry.
And we should not insult those that ask money for asking for money. That should we now glorify those that are saying no money for saying no money, because each person is on a different journey with God per time.
Okay, so I guess you just answered what I was going to respond to you, which is this conversation, I think, has come to the fore because usually the people that are blamed or almost, I don't want to, but for lack of a better word, demonized for asking for payment is the artist. Meanwhile, the church doesn't see the part that it's playing. That you're asking for a particular kind of person to come and represent. Yes. So it's if you accept that this person has turned their work into business, you to understand that when you ask for them, you have made it a business decision. Some of these big names that we call from abroad and things like that, before you even get to them, they have set up a team that talks to you about money, so that it looks like they have separated themselves from it. It's not really so. It's just to give you that sense of, okay, we're still dealing with someone who is really on a spiritual level. But you're talking to a team that's telling you about his flight tickets, about his accommodation, and the kind of food, and the sort of food that person eats, and the level of hotels. They'll tell you the type of hotels, but you never discuss it with the man himself or the man of God himself. But who do you think is enjoying all those things? He's still the man of God, but he does that because he understands the dilemma of spirituality and Christianity. I will remove myself so that you can still deal with me as a spiritual person. But there's a physical part to me that you have to deal with. But so the truth, what I'm trying to say is that we should not demonize one side when we also realize that that's what we're doing.
Let me take this call from Sunday. Good morning, Sunday. You're live.
Hello.
Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
This is Ola.
Ola Sukomi. Oh, I do apologize. Go ahead, please.
I'm calling from Ilorin.
Go ahead, you're live.
Yeah, I want to say hi to you guys.
Thank you.
Concerning this issue you are discussing, see, let's get one thing here. These people, they are ministry on their own. The church is a ministry. I think the church is being played smart here by exploiting those gospel musicians. Because the pastors, when they go to other churches to go and minister, they treat them as a guest, as a pastor, that is like they have a fee to pay them when they are ministering in another church. So this gospel musician too, when they minister in different churches, the church is supposed to be prepared to pay them heavily. Because just like one of your colleagues said, they are like, what is it called? Hyping the church they went to. At least they can have more members, make more money, because the program they organize, they use those artists, big artists, to attract people to the venue.
Okay, let me take a few comments. There's one that I have here that I thought was quite interesting. The person said that the church should stop building all these 50,000, 100,000 capacity buildings and start building lives. Invest in the lives, education and business, and not in the buildings. Another said that, let me see. Let's see comments on social media.
Let me take his. I have that same someone with that in that same comment. He said, "I went for vigil in Ogun State. I was given a basket of fruit and Ankara after the vigil, Tuesday into Wednesday. He said the following Sunday, from the same small church a Toyota Venza was brought to my house. I know the person said, I sincerely don't buy cars since 2009 till date. I have received 50K honorarium before from the church, but a member came after service and gave me 500K. He said, run your race/assignment according to God's description for you.
And the gift to come.
Yeah.
So now
what God has, no, if God did not tell you to be doing free, if you go and do free, hunger will
not
come.
work for you. Yes.
So know your
assignments.
own assignments and be sure that this is what God has asked me to do. If it is a business line, God has given you the competence to do it well.
Let me come to BC, because you see, there are those that have that assignment, but then they see other people flourishing. Because it's one thing to say, I want to pay my children's school fees, and somebody now gives you. Some people don't want that. No, I'm just saying that we've all been in that situation whereby it happens.
Yeah, no.
But some people are saying, you know what, I want to be like Sinach. I want to be invited to Texas to come out. You know, I want to get to that level. I want to blow. So you're not more content with just God making provision when you need it. You want to pay school fees and somebody just shows up and gives you something. You want to buy a car, somebody shows up and gives you a car. You want to flourish. You want to blow. So people are saying, how do I get to that level with just being, not asking and demanding for a certain fee or asking for something? That's the real life conversation.
Comment again. Okay. He said that, my eyes have seen shege from this preaching and ministering industry. That's why I don't play with my businesses. I have 4 businesses that brings him money. But when he ministers, he's not expecting money. And if he comes good, and he trusts that he always comes.
So do you know that there are some people who cannot function doing 2 or 3 things at the same time? They have to be a minister, they have to be a minister. There are a lot of ministers who somehow they had to step a soft pedal on the ministry because it wasn't paying any form of bills, and they were actually living from hand to mouth. They are still Holy Spirit filled, they are still called, and they had to find business. I've had conversations with a lot of people who had to find something to do. Some people went back to working, find a job, just so that when they come out, they look okay. When you don't have some certain needs met, you come out, you look tacky. When you look tacky, they will not call you. There's no church that will call you when your wig is dripping ororo, when your shoe has chopped. No matter how talented you are.
What if the Holy Spirit in
you are not packaged?
Yeah. Even the Holy Spirit will be giving you ideas on how to present yourself. So
you see us, we the people. We the people have caused that.
No, it's not about we the people.
We are the ones demanding. We are the ones demanding that.
Hold on.
Even though they were disciples.
Hold on. They were still fishing after Jesus Christ disappeared, though. They were not fishing with Jesus Christ, though. No. When he wasn't there, they had to
have to wrap up.
Yeah. They went back to their old profession. Don't mix it up.
I need to bring in our guests.
Are we wrapping up?
Time don't finish on this matter. Marian, let me let you have the final word.
Well, someone had mentioned, I think you read that about the big auditoriums that are being built and things like that. And I'm saying, we've heard pastors say that they bought an aircraft to push the gospel of God. So if you can do that and you understand that, then you should understand the gospel artists.
Create a gospel industry that our artists will be fed and pushed and packaged for international exportation.
You call them, they want something.
Okay, let me go on a break now. We have, in fact, interestingly, we have a guest who's probably very close to this matter. So he might shed some light on this aside from here what he's here for. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Yeah, all of us. Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show from the Creative Solutions for Business Growth Africa is the host and convener of the event, Mr. Gbenga Adenuga. Welcome to the show. Coincidentally, we're talking about something I know you can relate to. So let us talk. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this issue of should ministers, gospel artists, be charging churches for ministrations? We've had different perspectives, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, especially because we know even you come from a gospel artist in the family. Your brother, Abuja, composed and released songs that all of us sing on a daily. But I seriously doubt if he gets royalties for any of these songs. So what are your views on how gospel artists have been appreciated over the years concerning their gifts?
Thank you, Mario. Thank you, everyone. I mean, I'm really, really happy to be here. And I've been listening. In all honesty, I don't have an opinion, and that's the truth. Because there are as many opinions as there are people and what you're going through. So I did gospel music, and I did it big time. But it was pre-social media era, pre the kind of organization and the structure that is coming into gospel music now. So we did it because we loved it, and we were not really paid for it. I mean, I wrote to, You Make Me Wonder, I Wonder, it's all over the place. You know, I don't have, I mean, people even use it
doubt
without,
that you...
know, so we grew up in that time, and we, unfortunately, it is what it is. The younger folks now are more daring, and things have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go to church when I was singing and see the speakers bad, and I would change it. I bought keyboards for churches. I bought speakers for churches when I was doing my music. And that's why I said there are as many opinions as there are people. Right. And I don't want to take a stand. I can only talk about my own experience. Yes. Years ago, I was running these concerts in Ibadan, and it was the biggest thing. I had 2,000 people coming every 2 weeks, and it was a free show. And I went to God, I said, God, please. So I asked people, how do we raise money? I was spent. And people said, go and pray to God that He will send people to give you money. So I went to God and I prayed. And I believe God said to me, Benga, the people that you're asking to help you, what do they do? I said, they do business. And God said, what's wrong with your hands?
Your own hands.
That's my own personal. And since that time, I have been running my gigs myself. 99% of my money come from me. I've been doing business. I go to church today, I sing, and I walk away. I don't talk money. How much can they give me? Me.
But somehow God provides. But somehow God provides for you.
No, but he has a business.
Business.
So this is my, this is not a rule. This is not what people should follow.
It's not a rule.
But I would suggest, I don't look to people for money. I hate it. But I have a lot of service. I mean, I had a one-on-one with Pastor Itwa Ighodalo yesterday on my Instagram handle. That's Pastor Ighodalo, Pastor Itwa. And the first thing he said, did my people call you? Because we're on some deals. Two of us, I said, yes, this one called me, that one called me. We're on some deals together. Pastor Itwa Ighodalo. If you come and sing in his church, I can't ask for money. I don't need that.
They're doing business together.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of pastors I've been relating with, I've been doing business with them. I have personally grew myself from that space. I'm not, and it is not a rule. I should not be quoted.
This is your own personal journey.
I'm happy. I run my, I mean, we're doing what we says we tomorrow. I put in millions of my money in it, even though Providence is on it. But I put in a lot of my millions in it. My vision is to help people. And God has said to me, what's wrong with your hands? So God provides.
Working with the hands.
And God provides.
Fantastic.
And I will say this, God does not bless people. God bless the works of their hands. And that is very profound. But you might be like, what is this saying? Listen to me, no matter how much you pray, God bless me, you probably won't see anything. Okay. So for me, what I do is this. I do business, and every money I have, I quickly buy stock. And I leave the stock. When I'm broke, I say, God, please, let me sell. I guarantee you 10 people will call for that thing same day. When I was singing, when I was singing big time, I was singing Thursday morning, we're gone, and I'm back on Monday. We're singing from party to party all over Nigeria. I have trucks of equipment, I have equipment that can power a stadium. Anytime my money is going down, and I pray, I guarantee you, someone's great-grandfather will die. And they will come and sing. I'm not joking. Yeah. Someone will just say they want to do a party, and they will call me.
That's the provision you're talking about.
Exactly.
God always provides.
Yeah, so when I was singing, I was the first gospel musician in the new system that started singing at parties. Everybody said I was backsliding. Everybody said it's bad. I was singing everything. I sang at government events. I sang everywhere, doing my gigs, doing my parties. Laulu Benjo, you know him now. Yes. He's like a prodigy. All of them saw what I was doing, and they liked it. Laulu is a businessman. Yes. Do you understand? And I mean, he's built a studio like mine. Yeah. He would come to me and say, look at what I've done, and he'll go and replicate it. Yeah. Because this is what I believe in. Right. Business is for money making. Really, really, ministry is not. So.
Debatable, but
that's why he said.
My own conviction.
Which is fine. Which is fine.
Ministry is not.
I love that. I mean,
ministry is not. Business is. So if I need money, let me do business. If I'm going, so I stopped doing music, and I do day one, and I fund it, and I put it there, and that's it.
Every first
day of the month. 6:30 to 7. We do it in my studio, and that's fine. If I'm ever going to do music again, two things can happen. It will be big-time ministry. I will look out for people, and it's going to be all free. Or it will be big-time business. I'm going to compete with Davido. I'm going to do business.
Right. Okay, let's go back. Let's come to your event. That is you. Let's come to your event coming up tomorrow. Why did you think there was a need for a conference such as this, and what exactly is your objective for this conference?
Okay, so this is not new. I've been doing this forever. I mean, I started in 2019. Why do I think there is a need for this? A lot of young people are into business and they're not informed. So, and people go to school and they don't learn. They go to school but they don't learn. And I found out that there are a lot of things that people have learned on the streets. Streets is not a place, it's a mindset. So people have learned a lot on the streets doing business, and through storytelling, through mentorship, we can actually impact people. So it's a gap. It's a gap that if we don't bridge, we're going to be lost completely. I looked at Nigeria. There's so much to say. I was coming in recently from somewhere, and I mean, outside the country, and I used a bathroom in a lounge. And right in the bathroom, I was saying to myself, who did this to Nigeria? Because Nigeria is just...
as blessed.
I mean, and so so much is happening, but people are not getting it. A lot of people are into business. 2 days ago, on my Instagram live, I said, we'll give 20K to anybody that can answer 4 business questions right. So the first person came, got it right, gave 20K. The second person came. We asked one girl, she's a business owner. We said, what department is responsible for operations in the business? Sales, operations, blah, blah. He said sales. And she owns a business. So we're at a state. And I wonder what the big boys, what the billionaires are doing. We're at a state. We're giving 250K out to between 5 and 10 people at this event as a booster grant. Part of the funds coming from my pocket and my friends, it's friends and family kind of a thing. And I wonder what the big boys are doing.
Okay, let's get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm curious now. I'm like, so you're saying that there's a gap in mindset, in education, in experience. What exactly are we? Can you give me like specifics? Is it that people are not educated enough? Is it that they are not? They've learned some things, maybe traditionally or culturally, that is limiting us. What exactly are you trying to fill?
Okay, I'll tell you what. A door, ordinary doors, anywhere in the world, there are specifics and there are standards. Doors, when you're building houses. In Nigeria, we have varied our standards.
Yes.
So a young child doesn't even know how a door should look like because they have seen all kinds of standards all over the place. And these standards can't get the results that is required for good life, for right living. So if people don't begin to stand up and talk about these standards and tell a child that this is how to actually live, then it will be lost completely. We're near that. We're losing everybody. We're losing, our standards have been varied. In business, everything.
So you're talking also values?
Absolutely.
For life?
Values. Values in business. Business is so core to life. I mean, we're talking about, it's core to life. This is business. Our life is about business. If the values that surround the business is warped, our living is warped. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's where we are.
So this morning, in my banter, I spoke about how one of my former staff that I had to fire was just constantly lying and trying to dupe people, and just a young girl that I feel like she's smart, like your entire life is ahead of you, but she's caught in this space of trying to blow quickly or, make it happen, scam. It's just weird. And when you were talking about how we are redefining the doors, which is, I think you're trying to just paraphrase. When somebody comes to this program, this conference that you're putting together, what are you hoping will be the change that happens in their lives?
Straight away, mindset. Mindset. So we're bringing, I have Tan Washiru, she's a Marine, US military person, but she's Nigerian. I have Ife Fashola, she's an investment banker. Diolu Akemi is a businessman, went to school together. He lost his business a few years ago, everything burnt down. Completely. But he picked it up. So we need to hear those stories. Our house got burnt in 1987. All we had was school uniform, and we started over again. So I was with ID Kabasa recently, and I said, when I'm almost broke, he said, you cannot be broke because you have the power to create wealth, and that is the truth. I've been to different countries, I've lived in different places, and it's been the same. I would get there, I would make it, and I realize that, hey, what am I even looking for? And I'll come back to Lagos. Because, hey, it's the same thing everywhere. It's flat. If I'm a lion in Nigeria, I'm a lion in the UK. If I'm a lizard here, I'm a lizard there. So there's nothing I'm looking for anymore. So it's just the mindset. What we're trying to appeal to is mindset. How are you thinking? How are you thinking?
And mindset is a big one. We're all trying to change it somehow. That's what we do here on a daily basis, just getting people to think beyond themselves and think outside the box for better growth. But there are a lot of rich people I've paid attention to. They don't start out listing out 71 ways to success. When they get to success, then they look back and like, okay, these were the things I was doing. And for them, they are foundational things, foundational ethics that like refusing to quit, being excellent in everything you do. They are very foundational ones. But in their story, there are also different things which has to do with your different personalities and temperaments. Now, when you talked about the standard, I was wondering, is there like one cap fits all kind of standard? Or can you as individuals begin to create your standards in line with those foundational ethics and still be successful?
Right. So, you're right. And that's why we bring that's why we're bringing stories. And that's so what CSBG is about is we foster business successes using entertainment, events, and all non-conventional approaches. I mean, the idea is this. People have stories, just like you said, and they're strong. So one of the things I'm talking about is document your process and articulate it. You can, and that's what, for instance, we talked earlier and I said, this is me. I can't make it a rule. But if you want to pick anything from what I've gone through, please do. Because these things are strong and they can deliver you. But I would not, because it's also different. The background is different. But one thing is this, we all know that we should not lie. We all know that we should not deceive people. We all know that we should do, I don't know if we have time, but something happened to me that changed my life when I was younger. I got a deal. And I went to my pastor. I gave him some money, it's a lot of money as a tithe. And I said, pray for me that this kind of deals will continue to come. And my pastor walked away. I opened my eyes and he's gone. And I ran after him and said, Pastor, you're not praying. He said, I'm not going to pray. I said, why? He said, I know they will call you back for this kind of job. I said, why? He said, you don't compromise your standards. He said, if I prayed for you, you will think I'm the one that made it. You think it's prayer. But it's not prayer, it's a work. I did that job. If I tell you figures, you will freak out. It's like collecting a job of 1 million naira and having 10 naira left after doing the job because I put all the money in it. I was sad with my 10 naira. I was moving out. They called me back. They paid me another 10 million naira for the next 2 days. And for 5 years, I was called to do that job. I did 90% of that job at the State House of the Villa. Just because of what? I did not compromise on my standards. And my pastor didn't pray. So I was freed from that thing.
Thinking it's prayer.
Mindset. So we need truthful people. We need pastors that will tell you the truth. He said, Benga, they will call you back. Don't worry, leave my prayer alone because you don't compromise your standards.
It helped you to see the part of the story that was the real key, not the prayer, but your diligence. And that's why we should attend.
That's a powerful.
And that is what CSB is about. People are broke, but they are praying. People are broke and they are praying. The other day there's too much for me.
Because of time, let me just tell us the theme of your event, the day, the time, and where we can attend. Is it free? I hope we're not charging for it too.
Well, I'm not charging. It is the theme is rethink, realize, and redirect. It's called CSBG Africa, Creative Solutions for Business Growth. The focus, of course, I mentioned that. It's on Saturday, the 10th of June.
That's tomorrow.
And it's at 11 o'clock. And we're going to start in Jesus' name at 11 and end either 2 or 2:30. We're not going to waste your time. And, of course, we're giving booster grants to people. So we're also recording like a TV show, like the format, the Dragons Den format. People will come and pitch their businesses. And then we'll do like quizzes. And then we're going to give them grants. But we're going to be sure that they're using the grant for what they want. So if there's a cameraman that needs a lens, and he says that's what's needed, we're going to buy the lens for him. We'll make sure that the 250 is not wasted. Venue is Muson Center.
Oh, nice. Right. Fantastic. So
we're
11
supposed to be at
o'clock.
our studio, but we got oversubscribed. So we moved to Muson Center.
Nice. Fantastic. Well done. Wishing you all the best on this. We just hope that. I like the conversation. I like the fact that you want people to understand that they also have a role to play in what they're doing. People just always, we kind of hand over the work to either the pastors and just God to do. When you know that He has blessed you with hands to work. And I like what you said, that God doesn't bless people, He blesses the works of your hand.
We need to hear that
We need to sink that in. That it's not you. We're all blessed. But He's going to bless the work that you do. I think that's powerful.
That's too much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga. Is there any final words? Because you're looking at your watch and see if you have time. Let me give you 30 seconds. Any final thing you want to say?
Don't stop, just keep moving.
Yeah.
That's all we can take on this week's edition of Your View. The whole of next week, we're celebrating.
Your
We've
View
been pushing our celebration for May 29th because Your View was actually 10 years old, May 29th. But because of inauguration, everything, we had to move it. But by God's special grace and mercy,
All through next
the whole of next
we
week,
are shutting it
Monday through Friday, by God's special grace, we're shutting it down on television. We're celebrating, we're talking about it, reminiscing, doing everything we can. Just to remind you, we've been doing this baby for 10 years.
10 good years.
A decade.
A decade. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.